Hey everybody, welcome to Lecture 7, and today we're going to be talking about processing, specifically harmonic processing. We're going to talk about the two different types of EQ styles. And the thing to keep in mind is we actually just have a drum track and a vocal track in here, okay? So let's take a look at some EQ. Here are two good examples of a transparent EQ. If I just resize that, if I'm able to, boom, there we go. Okay, so fab filter being a transparent EQ, and the API vision channel being a character EQ. Okay, and the reasoning behind this is going to have some type of sound to it just by having it on by default, and this is not going to do that. Okay, so when I press play, I'm just going to deactivate this one. I'll just press play here on the drums. Okay, so we can obviously see where things are. If we want the drums to have a little bit more body to them, right? Brighter, that kind of thing. Make it wider, right? Or lowered, right? So there's all that. But in this one, what we get is what we get. Okay, so we are just manipulating the frequencies. Now, what we want to think about is the character EQ. So the character EQ kind of comes up with something a little bit different, right? So first things first, we actually notice that we don't have the run of the gambit of every single frequency. These frequencies are already pre-selected, and if we select type, it'll show us these ones as well, okay? Now, this is actually kind of comforting because this allows us to sort of work without losing our minds a little bit, because we can do every option imaginable on the fab filter, but we have a limited selection, so it makes us actually listen a little bit better on the character EQs. That being said, one thing I really like about the character EQ itself is the gain function. Okay, now this is typical for most sort of channel strip style EQs, but what I like to do is I like to flip the input and then pat it down, because the signal is going to be a lot hotter, and now I can actually control how much saturation I have off of the preamp, like I would be recording it this way. So let's hear what that sounds like. And we're just going to turn the plugin on, and then here we go. Okay. And then what I'm doing is I'm bringing this fader down just so it's roughly the same level. And without even using EQ, we can actually really hear already that it's really bringing in a bunch of detail that we're not even adjusting. And now if we want to say like, well, I need more oomph out of my kick drum, I can just go to maybe 50 hertz and say, okay, well, let's just push it up now. Right. So that right there is where we hear that distortion. That kind of stuff is all over character EQs, and everyone reacts a little bit differently. So it's really up to you to sort of experiment and mess with the sound itself and with the plugins, but that's where the fun is. Okay. So that is the difference between transparent EQ and a character EQ. See you in the next one.